So recently I got a phone call, and when I looked to check who it was a private number. Now, usually I wouldn't answer a private number, I'd let it go to voicemail. But I've been expecting a call from someone lately, and I didn't want to take a chance, so I answered it. And to my surprise, it was my bank calling. There's been some fraudulent activity in my account, and they're just calling to make sure everything was safe and secure. Within a few seconds, it was clear it was a scam call. They're trying to get some personal information, and I ended the call. And I didn't think much more about it. But lately, I've been realizing how quickly I am to dismiss people, even when it's deserved. But I've been making a bit of an effort to try to understand people. And I realized a lot of times when I don't immediately understand someone, even if it comes to a fraudulent call, I just dismiss it and say, oh, it's a scammer and that's it. And this applies, at least for me, not only to scam calls, but it applies to people I see on the street yelling by themselves, waving their hands around, and I call them crazy. Or you see people that have done some pretty terrible things throughout history, and we just call them evil. And as a society, but particularly with myself, I've noticed how quick I am to label people that I don't understand and be done with it. And I don't remember where I heard this from, but somebody said something along the lines of, if you see somebody doing something that you don't understand, or it's completely outside of the realm of possibility of what you could see for yourself, just know that you would be the exact same way as that person if you had the exact same existence. So I'm not talking about just the same life experiences. I'm talking about the same parents, the same upbringing, living in the same country, the same genetic code, right? The same ancestry, everything. If you had the exact same existence as that person, whether it's that crazy person, that weird person, that evil person, that bad person, that person doing all sorts of drugs and stuff, you would be exactly like them. I would be exactly like them. So when I think about this scammer, not to give him a break, but just to try to understand him, I kind of realized, like, if I was in a position where I was poor on the streets and I didn't know where I was gonna get my next meal from, and I had no hope, and I was presented with an opportunity to make money, I can understand how it could become a game of like just playing a video game where you do some stuff, you rack up some points, and the higher the number goes, the better it makes you feel. In the same way it feels playing any game. And if you don't see the outcome of your actions, it makes it easier to do those things. These scam callers don't realize how much harm they're doing to people. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to defend them. I know that they're doing bad. They probably don't understand the weight of the consequences that are happening to people. They probably just justify and rationalize their actions by saying, these people are in Canada or the United States or the first world countries, they have a lot of money, a couple $1,000s isn't going to harm them. And then they move on, they justify it. I could see a way that if I was in that situation that they were, I could do the same thing. It's a hard thing to grasp and implement in the moment. But usually when I'm reflecting back on something in a situation where I've labeled somebody and just dismissed the thought, I kind of think when two people have such a different existence, a different reality, different perspective, it makes sense that we can't understand them unless we make a deliberate effort to do so. It's the same thing as being like a slave or a slave owner, back in the day. They're experiencing the exact same reality, but their perspective of they might as well be living two different worlds. And so of course they don't usually understand each other. And so when I found myself labeling people and dismissing them by saying, oh, I don't understand them, but it's okay because they're bad people. Or I don't understand them, but it's okay because they're crazy or weird. I try to stop and realize, you know what? I could be the exact same way. That could be me. And it still could be me. When I see somebody that I think is bad, it's like, in 10 years, that could be me. There's a book called Ordinary Men. It talks about the Holocaust and the soldiers that were involved in the terrible events that happened. And the book is really trying to outline that these people involved that were committing these heinous crimes against humanity, they weren't monsters. They weren't evil people that just did evil things. They were ordinary men. They were just like me. They were just like you, man or woman. Through certain tactics and steps and scenarios, it led to them doing those things. So the whole point of the book is that anybody can become the monster. Anybody can become the evil person. Anybody can become the scammer, the crazy person, that weird person. So the point of the book is to show that within each of us, the potential to do very extreme things is there, no matter how ordinary or normal you think you are. Jordan Peterson said something that I often reflect on. He said, you end up in very bad places, one step at a time. So watch your steps. Once you understand that you can be you're capable of being like anybody else. Nothing is so far beyond the realm of possibility for you that you cannot be like that, no matter how bad it is. And it's very subtle. It starts with one step. Watch your steps. Because it only takes one enticement, one bad experience, one challenging circumstance to be a little bit of a hypocrite against your morals and ethics. And it becomes a slippery slope. Or that weird person on the street that we just assume is on drugs, he's crazy, whatever. That guy was probably normal at one point. He was stereotypically normal at one point. One event led to another, and he never probably saw himself that way. And we don't understand them, so we just dismiss them. When we see people we don't understand, it's probably not a good idea to just write them off. It's probably not a good idea to just look at them and label them and stop thinking about it as if we aren't capable of being like that. You know, there's a quote that says like, we become the thing we despise. And I used to always kind of dismiss that quote as some like fake profound stuff, but like we can become the thing that we despise. The more life experiences I have and troubling circumstances I find myself going through in life, the more I look at people and say, man, I don't agree with the way that person went in life, but I can understand it. I kind of relate it to, for example, if you speak English and you wanted to learn Italian, it's probably going to be very challenging. Not impossible, but it's challenging. But if you learned English and then you went on to learn Spanish, Portuguese, French, then if you then decided to learn Italian, it probably would be pretty easy for you because you've diversified your experiences. And so in the same way, as you go through life and we mature, I think we naturally become more understanding of people. We understand people a little bit more because we have this broad spectrum of experiences, and we can see ourselves in the people we don't agree with, or that is extreme. But as we age, we see how they got there. We have more compassion and empathy for that situation, even if we disagree with it. You know, I don't want to say his name because I don't want YouTube algorithm to give me a strike or anything, but like the person that led the Holocaust. It's easy to look at him and say, man, that dude was just evil. But at one point, he was like Time's Person of the Year, a great speaker. He was known as a great leader. So he wasn't always like evil. He was an ordinary man at one point. He was a well-respected man at one point. And through his actions, through the slippery slope, he became what he became. Again, I'm not trying to defend scammers and people that have taken very terrible directions in life, but I just want to I want to have this discussion with you as I work through my thoughts on why it's so hard to understand people and some steps we can take in order to do that. And above all, seeing ourselves in that person is probably one of the best ways to do that. I know this video was a little bit different from my other videos, but I really didn't go into this knowing what I wanted to say. I more so just wanted to have a conversation and share with you my thoughts. So I hope you enjoyed it. Otherwise, feel free to check out any of my other videos. I'll link them up above, and I'll see you over there. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching.